Hello everybody and welcome back to another Dressage Addict Work It Wednesday. Today we're going to have a look at circles. We don't want any squircles, circles with straight edges, as shown here. No ovals, no circles created by pulling round on the inside rein, and no circles in outside bend. We want accurate, even bend, straight, believe it or not, curves, and the correct sized circles. So this is going to be how to achieve all those things to get you your best possible marks on the circles that you're riding. Now you have circles everything from intro upwards. Generally they're 20 metres at intro and prelim. At novice you'll start to get some 15 metres, and elementary some 10 metre circles. So we will be discussing all the different sizes of those. I've done the diagrams in a 20 by 40, as I believe that's what most of you ride, but if anyone wants me to sort out the diagrams for a 20 by 60, just leave a comment and I will draw those up for you. It's not a problem. I just thought most people would only want a 20 by 40, so that's what I've done. Lara's demonstrating all of those lovely squircles, ovals, bad circles for you. So first we're going to look at a 20 metre circle in a 20 by 40 at either the C or the A end. As you can see, I've done 4 X's. Those are the 4 points that you should hit, and between those 4 points you should have a nice even curve. So you should only have 3 strides on the track when doing a circle at either the C or the A end. So 1 at either C or A, 1 when you hit between B and F, and 1 when you hit between E and K. There should be no straight sides. And because horses don't naturally do 90-degree turns or straight lines, if you aim to ride from each of those points, so from the X at A to the one between K and E to the one at X to etc., your horse should naturally produce a curve and will give you a nice shaped circle. We'll discuss more about how to get those turns in, but if you aim to ride from point to point, you should have a lovely circle at the end. So here is an example of one of those circles. So I've ridden from C to my point between K and E, to my point at X, and then back to my point between B and H, and then back to C. Next up, we have a 20 metre circle at either E or B. So again, you've got the 4 X's. The points near G and D, you can see I've written that they're 10 metres in from both A and C. One way to help you learn to ride this size circle would be to put a pole at like 9 metres and 90 centimetres in from C and A, so you know that you have to get just up to that pole and then turn away from it again. Or a cone just inside that 10 metre mark, so you know you have to go just round the edge of it, just to help you get a feel for where that point is, like the 10 metre point in from that track is, so you learn to ride the right size circle. So here's an example of a circle at E. So I sped this up a bit because it takes like 45 seconds to walk a circle that's 20 metres, and it was taking forever. So just hitting the track for 1 stride before pulling off again, making sure you don't end up with circles with flat sides, and then hitting that point 10 metres in from the C and A end. Next up, we have the 15 metre at either A or C, and again I would get some cones out or some poles out just to mark out what is 2.5 metres in from the sides and 5 metres down from X, to give you the right feel for what this circle size is like. And the same as before, ride from point to point and hopefully you'll have a nice smooth curve. So here's a 15 metre circle at C. If we're actually being a bit picky, this first half is a little bit wider than you'd like. This second half is much more controlled of the outside shoulder, and I would expect to get marked down for that in a test. So making sure you keep hold of the outside shoulder. Next up is the 15 metre at either E or B. I personally find these easier than the ones at A or C. So you just want to make sure you're hitting 5 metres in from the other marker. So if you're circling at E, 5 metres in from B, and if you're circling at B, 5 metres in from E. So again, here is an example of a 15 metre at E. I haven't done the top and bottom points for this because I just make sure I'm riding a smooth curve to that point there, 5 metres in from the other opposite marker. Next up, the 10 metre circle at the corner marker. Now, I really like these because you have the centre line as your barrier, so you definitely know where you're riding to. One thing I find that a lot of people get wrong is they actually have them going to the track, like the track at the A end. That is 6 metres. They shouldn't be going that far. You should be staying 1 metre in from the track. So that should help you ride a much more even circle rather than getting an oval in those 10 metre circles at corner markers. And then I have included these, but you don't see them in any BD test. They may appear in the Dressage Addict own tests, I'm not entirely sure. But a 10 metre circle at C or A. So you want to make sure you're 5 metres in from the track at each side and 4 metres past D, D being directly between K and F. So again, I'd get your cones and poles out and just put them down and get a feel for how big that circle is. So your 10 metre circle at E, you want to be really accurate with these because the judge is sat bang on that centre line and she can see exactly if you've lost the outside shoulder and overshot that centre line point. But again, I haven't done the top and bottom markers, just keep riding a nice smooth curve. And then a 10 metre at A. So just again, keep riding that smooth curve and make sure you've got that outside shoulder because it's very easy to lose them on those 10 metre circles. And then just a quick look at 2 half 10s looped together. You really want to make sure this is a half 10, pause, change bend, half 10 the other way. And actually you can see here I've created a still. I actually lose Lara's left shoulder slightly there, and it's so obvious when you're sat on the centre line. The judge will be able to see that miles out. And I did catch it and get a nice second half 10. But yeah, they're worth practicing. You definitely want a half 10, a pause moment where you show straightness and the change of bend without losing either the inside or the outside shoulder. Now, to get the perfect circle, you must be able to turn from the outside aids. Now, this always sounds so ridiculous, but here is proving you do not need reins to turn. So I am just making sure that I'm looking where I'm going and turning my body. So I'm making sure my hips, my legs, my shoulders are all pointing in the direction that I want to go. And here again, slightly different. You can see I've got no inside rein on the turn and I'm using the outside rein to stabilise the shoulder, the outside leg to push her round and my body to just help create that turn. So like I was just demonstrating in the walk, you need to use your entire body to create the turn. You don't just want to be pulling them around with the inside rein. So make sure that your legs are helping you create the inside bend like we've discussed before on these Work It Wednesday videos. So your inside leg on the girth, your outside leg just behind the girth to encourage the body to bend around the inside leg. Make sure your hips and shoulders are both looking where you want to go. So they should both have the outside hip and shoulder slightly forward of the inside. This will again help encourage the outside of the horse's body to lengthen and bend around that inside leg, but also turn. If you compress the outside thigh and knee into the saddle, this will help push the horse's shoulders into the turn. Keep the outside rein stable so that they cannot fall out that outside shoulder. You can have a little tweak down the inside rein to say, I want you to turn, and make sure you are looking where you want to go. If your whole body is pointing in a direction, the horse should naturally follow that direction, and it means you will get a smoother turn rather than one created by pulling the inside rein. So like I had in the diagrams, practice riding your circles with cones and poles out to help you find those 4 points of the circle. And if you aim to ride from each point without making the turn a 90-degree turn, you should end up with a really nice curve. It will split your circle down into your 4 quarters rather than getting to your marker and thinking, right, I need to write a whole circle. Just break it down into sections, write a good curve between your 2 points, and make sure your points are exactly that. You're riding a circle, not a squircle, as one of my favourite judges likes to call them. There should be no straight lines. You shouldn't be on the track for more than one step at a time. Otherwise, you haven't ridden a true circle. So do practice riding point to point to point, and you should get a nice, even, smooth circle with no straight edges. Maintaining a good rhythm of either your walk, trot or canter, so your true 4 beats for walk, 2 for trot, 3 for canter, and having the same like bum, 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 bum in the trot the whole way around your circle, so keeping it nice and consistent, both with the rhythm, the bend, the shape and size, is really key. It's so obvious to a judge if it changes throughout the circle. If your horse is working in a frame, the frame wants to be the same, so wherever the judge looked at you on a circle, they see the same picture. If it's changing throughout a circle, this will drop your marks. So yeah, just make sure you're keeping everything the whole way around a circle stays the same. Use your corners to make adjustments before and after, and then try and keep the circles just smooth and looking really easy. I know, much easier said than done, but that is the end goal. One good tip if you are in rising trot is to use the speed at which you're rising to help you maintain the tempo of the trot. So if they start speeding up, just think about using the rhythm of your rise and sit to just bring that tempo back down to the original rhythm you were aiming for.